Hello, social media. Well, maybe the best thing to suggest is that for people to watch my last YouTube video, I will leave a link for that in the description. So it basically shows correspondence between myself and a man named Christopher Baker, who made himself the self-appointed spokesperson for Glastonbury, but revealed himself within that correspondence and on the Glastonbury group on Facebook to have done a number of things. Basically, he sabotaged the handing over of the petition to the council. He contradicted his role and admitted that he was someone who the council had chosen as the spokesperson rather than the people in the campaign. He also tried to push for an advisory board with the council that would have eventually excluded the campaigners. Now, the good people of Glastonbury told him to sling his hook, that they wanted to talk on their own behalf to the council. And also in the correspondence, he admits to another 5G campaigner in that area that he was the international and national organiser of Say No to 5G groups. Now, what does that imply? It implies that he's got a leading role and that most of the 5G groups that have sprung up on Facebook, who are run by the same admins as a core group of gatekeepers at the helm. Now, the reason why they're doing this is obvious, and it's become completely and utterly obvious today. So I'm going to share with you this message that was sent, posted on the Bristol group, which was from the same man, Christopher Baker. Now, this comment was made after a lady mentioned that she was involved in a national campaign. So this was his reply. Just to say that World Shift is also setting up both a national and international umbrella, primarily to coordinate an international 5G protest and awareness weekend that starts on the 22nd of November. I am a little concerned that we don't have a conflict of interest. I have been tasked to launch this initiative on this coming Saturday. A lot of the advertising has already gone out in Europe, but would you be interested to amalgamate or work in unison? I can keep our agenda to avoid conflicts with what you may be intending, but there is an invite due to go out to all Counter UK 5 groups to attend a Zoom conference to discuss coming together to be affiliated with the unifying umbrella of a yet to be named collective, which will be endorsed by World Shift, the European Alliance and 5G Crisis, and a few legal outfits. Maybe we should talk and discuss how best to proceed in conjunction with what you have in mind. Warm regards, Chris Baker. So this man, who has already been shown to be someone who's trying to take over the campaign in Glastonbury, where he was booted out after his behaviour, is now going to try and attempt to unify all the 5G groups under one umbrella. In other words, they want to take total control of the campaign. So let's just take a look at some of these groups that he is tasked with initiating this action alongside, shall we? Right? World Shift. The World Shift movement went global on 9/9/9. The website is the typical template pushing the climate change agenda, and the launch of this movement involved a speaker called Irvin Laszlo. Now, Laszlo produced a report for the Club of Rome, in which he's a member. He also has run global projects at the UN for the Institute for Training and Research at the request of the Secretary General of the UN. He's written a number of books, including one called The Choice, which you can read the write-up to here, published back in 1994, Evolution or Extinction. And it states, In the closing years of the 20th century, many scientists, politicians, economists and journalists are pointing out the inevitable dangers of humanity's current trajectory and calling our world culture unsustainable. But most of their visions of doom are based on a single area of expertise: pollution, population, deforestation, energy depletion, or various other threats from unbridled technology. They do not reflect the big picture, which may be far less bleak than they propose. Irving Laszlo, a long-standing member of the Club of Rome and an internationally renowned expert on global trends, sees opportunities even amid the dark news. With a background in science, economics, philosophy and art, he ties diverse issues into a grand vision he calls the fifth wave, the complex interaction of trends that has led us to unprecedented global stress. By exploring the underlying causes of the fifth wave, readers will gain a deeper perspective on daily headlines and a new hope for alternative directions for humanity. And there's a lot of books that he's actually written. A lot of them are, is basically, this is your Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, okay? And these people are going to be behind the 5G campaigns? I don't think so somehow. Then we've got the European Alliance, which was formed in 1996. It's got a strong focus put on the promotion of the green economy, investments aimed at a low carbon energy efficiency. On the 19th of September, the European Alliance took part in the 25th meeting in Brussels, where they discussed the Green Deal and the role of small communities in sustainable development. One of the topics covered by the member of the Alliance was smart cities, new challenges for a just transition towards climate neutrality. And this clown highlighted the importance of the inclusion of smart actions towards climate neutrality. Now, these people are supposedly against 5G. I don't think so, do you? And then the last group that he mentions is 5G crisis is just, it seems to be the American umbrella for all the Stop 5G groups across the states. So, you know, we can see that it's covering UK, Europe and America. Now, I don't know, I haven't looked into the 5G crisis group, so I don't know whether they are, you know, anything untoward or what. It could just be another group that's got, you know, that are endorsing them. I don't know. So if you want to find out about that group, you'd have to do that yourself. Now this is where I get to the crux of the matter, because if we look at Baker's attempt to get the council to hold an advisory group that excludes the public involvement, and we look at his links to John Kitson, who made news just recently with his moratorium that was agreed by the council in Totnes, then it is important that we realise that any attempt to exclude any open public consultation, and they can call it whatever they like, should never be allowed to happen. And also to remember that if you look closely, it states that this will not affect any planning for the smart agenda. Okay, so if a moratorium allows the council to exclude all members of the public opposed to 5G, while it gives a voice to those who are actually on the payroll, then that is something that we need to take into consideration. After all, when does anything become mainstream media news without an agenda? When? So lastly, you might think, well, who are you? How can we trust you? We don't know you. That's fine, that's good. That means you've got critical thinking skills. So my name's Annie. I've run Annie Logical YouTube channel for years and years and years until it got removed. I've been running a campaign against 5G for nearly 2 years now, and we've sent out thousands and thousands, hundreds actually, thousands of leaflets out to people to warn them about 5G. We've got a campaign group on Facebook. We don't affiliate to anyone, and so you can, and I've got a website as well, so you can look at Analogical Uncensored, my website. I've got tons of information about 5G, and also those people who have done the research on and found out that they're not who they say they are. So, you take your responsibility upon yourself. Don't follow the herd, and do your own research. Okay. Thank you for listening. My name's Analogical. Stay safe.